Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is our first live stream on air since the show has come back from its little mid-season hiatus. So that's really exciting. And I think this is one of the best episodes yet. Sorry we're a little late.
Yes.
We're a little late because of me, but we're good now. So let's go. So, yeah, it definitely was one of the best episodes.
So much happened this episode. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. First of all, we got a Lindsay Sterling
oh my gosh, yes. I love
cameo.
Talk.
So we launch with a Lindsay, well, we don't launch, but we get a Lindsay Sterling cameo. Essa premiered. Sonali got to show up for Essa.
Yes, we were.
Oh my god.
So great.
There was only, a minute of screen time for her, but she captured everybody in that minute. We all need more of Essa.
Yeah, we need it. We need it like we need air.
Let's not even get into the start of the war and Gwen or Rosamund stepping forward as who she is and preparing to mobilize the army. We got battle scenes. We got upcoming plot tension. What didn't we get this episode?
I mean, we didn't get Talon in a really intense fight scene. That's all I can think. She didn't get
stabbed for once.
Yeah, you're right. Talon didn't get stabbed. That has to be a level up, right? She has to be at least level 10 now.
Oh God. So, okay, I don't even know where to start. First of all, okay. So I'm Garrett Trash. Everyone knows I'm Garrett Trash.
We know you're trash.
But I have loved Janzo since he showed. And this episode, I wanted to squish him and slap him at the same time because he was being such an adorable, conniving, sweet little
You can see that he is, even when he's kind, when he's pushed, and when he's in a stressful situation, if he's not afraid, he's like his mom a little bit. He starts to be well, I'm going to use what I know.
Oh, and what does he know? He can read in, 12 languages, apparently?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I was wow, this guy's a librarian, but in the future. If the library still existed in this dystopian future, he would be a librarian. That's the fact. And in this scene, when people are to talk about seeing Janzo as autistic, I like when whenever he is talking, when he says "excuse me" way too much in a conversation, that seems definitely something relatable to people I know who are on the spectrum, when they have certain phrases they repeat over and over.
Mm-hmm. So and some of his gestures and tics are really continuing to really embolden themselves.
They're starting to his eyebrow thing is refined down, and it didn't his eyebrows didn't really lose. His eyebrow didn't shoot to the top of his hairline, except for that one moment where Talon was like, "You're amazing," and he was like, but it was just his eyebrow. He contained it. It's like when I go to the dentist and I'm afraid of the needle, so I just squeeze my fist and relax the rest of my body. You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh man. Okay. So I'm hoping Shay's gonna be able to show up because she's the #1 Fanana honey badger or whatever. So I'm gonna try not to rant about Janzo too much in case she could show up.
Yeah.
But can we go on, since she's kind of your girl, a little bit about Gwen and Rosamund showing her face this episode for who she is to the
That
men.
Was my favorite moment. I've watched the episode a whole bunch of times, but we're late because I was finishing watching the episode with my dad for the first time.
Right.
But there's so many commercials, and I was like, I overestimated how many commercials there were. I'm gonna be late. But I had to see that scene and the Essa scene again. So I'm not sorry. It was so amazing though. I literally said, "Go off, Schaefer," during the kiss music.
That's right. Like he's.
Can that be our new thing? Our new meme hashtag go off Schaefer whenever there's like a great swell.
Right.
Like, and like it like sends that frisson, that shiver down your whole spine, and you're like, wow, that's music. But it doesn't I love it because like and then like the more subtle but still just as epic and appropriate music during when the commander's speech especially has a great soundtrack. And his voice, the way he rolled, the way he made the red when he said red blood for the Covenant, like he knew just the right places to stress to make it seem really emotional. So it was really you really kept yourself on the edge of your seat because you're like, this dude's just spilling all of the tea right now.
All of the tea.
All of the tea. All of it. It's just he threw it in the snow, except it did that thing where you throw hot water into cold air and it just evaporated into Utah air. And everyone was like, watch it go.
Okay, so gosh, there's so much happened this episode. First of all, like I said, I'm going to save the Janzo commentary in case the Badger can show up, unless you want to pick up on that in a bit later. Can we get into Garrett's, like, unrestrained sword throwing skills?
Oh my gosh.
This is becoming a theme. This is,
like,
he's
yeet. This bitch empty.
He's the ultimate sword chucker at this point, dude.
He's just like YOLO. Watch me just. I just can't even imagine. Like this time he like threw it like a dart though. He was like,
that was just I was like, can I don't know if you saw Jake even replied because I was like, can somebody get back to us on like the force and momentum behind Garrett's sword throwing, because like this is getting impressive, man. Like oh, go on.
You know, it was really interesting because Doug Pasco was tweeting how he really liked the shot where Gwen was in that, you know, basically the throne and Garrett was standing right next to her, you know, and he was like, oh, it's like a preview of what's to come. And that space next to her is empty. And I was like, I hope Talon gets to stand there. And then I was thinking, after that, I tweeted about how I can't stop thinking about how, you know, Talon is supposed to be descended. She's the reason she can control the demons, you know, is because the Black Bloods, whatever made them Black Bloods, which is something we question a lot on this channel in various terms. But whatever made the Black Bloods, it came from like the DNA of the Emperor, the direct bloodline of like the Emperor of the demons. So, and since she's the last one, she's the last direct descendant of the Emperor. So she's basically the heir to the demon title. And in my mind, I didn't really process that. I was just like, oh, so I thought she didn't outrank anyone. I thought she outranked everyone except Gwen. I thought they were both queens because we've been talking so much about queens in this show. And then I can't remember who pointed out to me, but someone pointed out to me, they were like, doesn't an empress outrank a queen? And I was like, oh my God, Talon is an empress. It didn't even register until right then. I was like, she's the one who should be sitting in the throne. If anyone, Gwen should be standing next to her.
So can we talk a little bit too about the prophecy? Like,
yeah, that really got like
expanded.
It's getting driven in for sure. It's getting shown. Like, well, yeah, they were talking about Harak or something. Darrock or something, like this temple. Yeah. This temple they're going to. I love that. I'm excited to see this. It's this sandstone temple.
Fire and
this altar. Yeah, the altar of fire and then the book of names. It's all getting really cool, and I can't wait to see. That must be what that one shot is of Essa, that behind the scenes shot where she's by fire. Must be what she's doing that ritual. I figured that's why they got Essa, because the dude said that you had to do some weird fire chanting rituals and probably have to kill some
I can fire
animal. She was like, send that. And then the little girl was probably like, send that weird person.
But
we don't want to do it.
Can we get over the fact that whatever fire dancing we're about to see out of Essa is not going to be computer graphics. It's not going to be any edits. That
Whatever
is going
we
to be
see.
Sonali's pure skill.
It was cool when she touched the flame in the scene when she touched the candle. I was like, yeah, that was hot.
Right.
She was just like, power move. Boop.
I'm sorry. I fully admit the first thing I tweeted at the end of the episode was, I go get book. Like, I go get
I love her. I love the act. Oh, I just like, we've been dreaming of her since the show, we first time to find out about her. We've been so excited and stuff. But nothing could have prepared us, you know what I mean? When she walked in, we were like, wow.
So much hype, man. Like, we're like, is it episode 6 yet? Is it episode 6 yet? I literally, Shay can tell you, I was sitting here like, when does Sonali show up? When does Sonali show up? And she was like, we were told it's really only going to be like the end of the episode.
But still, we were like, we need to see her. We need to hear her voice and see the way she walks. She did the murder walk so well. Like
Cat
Blanchett better run. Sonali's coming for her career.
Right. Oh, I don't know. One thing I'm really hoping to find out here is, like, do we get to explore Essa's story this season, or is this something they're going to taunt and torment us with into season 2 if we can get season 2?
I mean, I feel like we won't see a lot of Essa's backstory or whatever, or where she came from until season 2. I know that we get more of her in season 2, so if we see a backstory, it'll probably be then.
Agreed. But I mean, with the prophecy out there now too, we've had it more clarified to us. We know what she must do. We know what's driving her, and at this point, we're seeing it start to take motion. And I think that's what I really like, because now we're seeing it. This whole savior of mankind style prophecy. We are seeing the military start to mobilize currently against the Prime Order. So are we going to see some ironic crap where she summons like an army of demons to save humans from a church?
I want it so bad. I know she's going to. The minute I saw her dismiss the demon, I was like, she's going to bring him back, especially when Gwen asked. I was like, she's going to, with the Book of Names, she's going to summon this. She's at least going to summon maybe whatever is on the list. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Book of Names is a whole book of names. Can you just imagine? Is she just going to sit here like turning and reading them back to back? Like, does she have to do an individual?
At the end, she's like, Paul. It's like calling roll. Like roll call. Is everyone here?
Humphrey, Paul,
Fernando, Federico, Steve.
It's Steve.
Steve.
Sit down, Carl.
Carl, that kills people. I should make an edit of when Humphrey was stabbing her.
It's like it's the yellow pages for demons.
I love when she just like poked him. When he just like poked her, like, please. And she was just like, no. She didn't even move.
No.
Like,
go sit down.
And then he was like, I'm not even committed.
I'm not even into this.
And like, oh my gosh, that moment when she saw the scar on his arm and realized it was her. That was, I feel like that means there's something special, especially since they know that demon's name. Like the Black Bloods didn't have the Book of Names. She didn't even say anything out loud. When she showed it the first time, but she had that innate power. So that demon, especially,
it's her guardian demon.
Yeah, it must be like the gatekeeper. Maybe they the demons were like, you stand here, and if if someone opens the gate, call us.
Ended up going through instead of calling it. It's like, damn it, Humphrey.
Yeah. Dude left us. No, but I wonder. I feel like Bafnoru. I wonder if we might see if Bafnoru is also how Talon's mad at Gwen because Gwen was gonna let her die, to save herself. So I wonder if it's the same situation where the demon feels like it doesn't really have a choice, but it did have a choice I think maybe not. Maybe it knew she was the important one, but still, at the same time, you know, she didn't even actually call it. You know what I mean? So it's interesting that moment. It seems like maybe they could have a deeper connection, and so if she summons him, you know, and she seems to really have control over him now,
Right.
it's gonna be bad for the Covenant, I'll tell you that. And I feel like everyone's gonna be like, that's hot.
She's slowly dropping her self-doubt, and in areas of Talon, I think one of the things that really interested me that we saw this time was, you know, she's a character that is so driven by this concept of vengeance or revenge, or, you know, whatever. But in that moment, not only with the moment of, just in case someone hasn't watched it yet, a certain character dying, but her burying them. I'm
Yeah.
still not. I've had 2 episodes to swallow that, actually, at this point, because they introed that.
Yeah.
I have been sitting here for 2 episodes on that, and I have not
And then the
emotionally
week in
recovered.
between that we had a hiatus, so it was a while. We were just like, okay. Just dealing with that now.
Right? It's nothing like leaving us on a cliffhanger, so we've had 2 episodes in 3 weeks to deal with this, and then we get to see her bury him, and she's not grinding an axe against him. She's letting it go, and I feel like, as quiet and subtle as that is, it's a form of character growth we just saw in Talon.
Yeah, it was like healthy for her, because like I feel like it was good that she realized that, because like think about what he said to her, that I was a bad person and you made me a good person, and I impacted you positively, and therefore it had caused you to impact the people around you positively. And then you put that with how Talon blames herself for everything that's ever happened. You know what I mean? And she is she's using her anger at the bones, her blaming them, as like the scapegoat for her self-hatred, her hatred of the bones and, the Covenant. That's, she can be committed to getting vengeance for her people without the personal, like the rage that got her stabbed a whole bunch of times because she wasn't thinking things through. You know what I mean? We're seeing her start to get control of how she is, feeling towards herself.
Is that why she didn't get stabbed this episode? She sublimated her need for revenge?
Yeah, she's like, well, I feel a little bit better.
I bet you do if you're not getting stabbed over it.
She killed all the bones, and then the one she didn't kill, well, he's dead now.
Oops.
It's, even if she's a little sad about that, mixing with her happy feelings, even with all the confusion of those feelings, it is a big moment of closure. Even if she still feels like she has to go after Dread and stuff, probably, that's something that she's been working towards her whole life. So she definitely has a sense of accomplishment now, and she doesn't. But it's like, she's not like reveling in it, in like nearly in any sort of way. Like, yes, I finally killed them, because she's been saddened by this death. So it's like her elation and her sadness meet in the middle, and she's in this really calm kind of, I don't even care, I'm just gonna do this, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, this is what I'm doing. But she also seems more, in touch with her positive emotions, and she even when she was lashing out in anger over being, that was reasonable. When she went and lashed out in anger against Shanto, that was reasonable. She was stuck in a huge drug deal for like what, meth, basically, fantasy meth, in the middle of nowhere, and she's like, I'm gonna. So that was totally reasonable. But while she was lashing out, she was like, the way she was like, the mistress has finally, abandoned you to die, and stuff. That shows that even though she didn't say it, she knows that the mistress treats Janzo like shit and uses him like that. And that was like, her lashing out at him. But, that also means that when you put that against how she was taking the time out of all of her feelings, all of her mission to stop and tell Janzo that he's amazing, and that, you know, he's really smart and stuff like that, and to, you know, validate him, she was doing that for a reason.
Yup.
She recognizes that nobody else fucking validates this guy. And that's where their kinship comes from. Nobody, like, because she's so alone, you know, literally, basically, but he is extremely alone, even if he's surrounded by people. And it's almost worse. So she's like, you make me feel better about myself in multiple ways, and I want to make you feel better too. So she's not only returning the favor literally in this episode by helping him with this stuff, she's emotionally returning his, you know, everything that he's given her positively wise. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. God, okay, so I'm interested that they made a point of highlighting that Calcazar still had some fight left in him with this war coming up.
That was awesome. Like Gray Fox material. He went off.
He was
like, yeah, he just went and did that. It was so funny because Garrett was like, protect Gwyn, and then Gwyn was like, protect Garrett. And Calcazar did not even hesitate to go ride and protect Garrett with just as much fever, which I think totally calls back to how Gwyn was like, you're like a son to him too. Like, this dude not only took in Gwyn, but also definitely feels like Garrett, you know, he probably sees Withers treating his actual kid like crap, and it's like, you're not appreciating that you have your child. You may have lost your wife, but you're not appreciating that you still have your kid.
Speaking of Withers' relationship with Garrett, can we touch on the fact that we finally got a little bit of history about Garrett's mother and what happened?
Yeah, I was hoping we could go into that next, because like, also the rape, you know, has been, you know, and the sexual assault has been kind of like interlaced and implied, you know, and stuff before this, but it was really talked about and shown in this episode in multiple ways. And I think that's, you know, for a big reason. It shows that not only does this government fail to protect its citizens, like it abuses them at the same time.
However they want.
Absolutely. And everyone just has to deal with it. And it shows that women aren't the only ones who are violated by this. And you know, she was like an Ophelia. Like, Garrett's like the daughter of Ophelia, you know what I mean? She just killed her. She just did that. And, you know, I think that definitely explains a little bit about Withers too. Because the law is everything to him, and he definitely hates the, you know, the Covenant, because they don't care about the law. Which is why it seems like he's going to go head-to-head a little bit with Gwyn, because he's like, do you care about the law? Are you just going to be another tyrant? So I don't think he's actually opposed to her. I think he's testing her.
Yes.
He's testing her. I think he does believe in her and his son. He just doesn't want to show it, but he doesn't want to just embrace this. He doesn't want to just embrace this coup or whatever, and risk his people or risk all these lives, because he's like, I don't know if I can trust you kids.
Cassidy, you're being freakishly quiet. I'm sure you have an opinion.
When have I ever said anything on this?
You need to say something. We'll play. Me and Min will play We'll mute ourselves, and then we'll leave you here.
No. I don't want you to do that.
We'll for cameras and everything. Just leave you there hugging your pillow.
Blank.
Bee. Here's my bee. It's very handsome.
Oh, I love it. I have a big pillow pet.
I think I have one somewhere too, but I don't know. I lost my train of thought. It has nothing to do with what you guys were just talking about, but I guess I don't pay much attention. Where were you guys getting that this is the future and not just like another medieval fantasy kind of thing?
Kira?
It's definitely, like, first of all, when the show was first announced, and in every single description and official text and everything like that, it's described as being in the future and as being dystopian. that's like been one of the base facts about it since before we ever got trailers or anything. Like it's one of the establishing things. And also you can see that in the stuff like how this demon looks like an alien, and how the moon is a flame is, you know, the moon's all lava flowy like that, like something's going on.
Mhm.
And the grayskins, like as long as there have been grayskins and humans, like we don't know where the, you know, like, yeah, that might be, you know, you can take that as fantasy, but we know that this is in the future from all of the meta external context that we've been given.
I didn't see any of that, so that explains.
Yeah, so yeah, but they basically they've told us that.
Okay.
So we know it's some post-apocalyptic thing.
But it's interesting for a post-apocalyptic setting to essentially have regressed to medieval standard.
Actually, it's very common. So it's actually like a trope. And I think that they're doing it in a way that not many people have done it before.
Like I usually see it go Western or just survival. Straight up medieval is interesting.
I've seen a lot of feudal post, like you got Into the Badlands is a popular one. Like Fair. It might, you know, and then you got there was this other science fiction show. You know, you do have space westerns like Firefly / Serenity.
But space western is very different than space nights.
That's space western, but it's also a very feudal system. You know what I mean?
Yeah, feudal system, but I mean, we literally have knights in armor and queens and monarchies going on. So that's...
Maybe I just think it's really common because that's what I want to watch, and that's all the stuff that I look for, like the time machines. You know, like I think that's the kind of stuff that, like, Shannara Chronicles is another good example.
Shannara Chronicles does fit, yes.
Like, we've been really getting into that, and like me personally, I'm trying to do something like that with King Arthur coming back. Like that's like my niche of interesting stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's so, but it's not completely unusual. But they are doing it in a different way. Like they're doing it in a really RPG-ish, you know, setting. And you know, Gentle mentioned witches. You know, this episode. So I really hope that we get more like that. But so far, it seems like a really unique world they're building up.
I'm wondering if it's almost foreshadowing of Essa in a way too, because while she's not a classic witch, she's some kind of fire dancer and all of this stuff. So that might have just very well even been foreshadowing. Like,
oh my gosh, Essa and Talon have so much in common. Like we already kind of talked about that. They both use like a sword and like a dagger at the same time. They both have they're both really, you know, obviously the fighting women of the series, but they're also, you know, they're also both like in the wild, alone loners, you know what I mean? That do money for hire. And like like they had a direct parallel this episode when Talon went and took some money from Janzo for her share before the, you know, and then that like paralleled from when Essa was like, I'll take 10 before I go. And then I'll take the rest when I get back. That like was like a parallel between them that was really interesting. Them both reaching for the gold, but being confident that they didn't really need it, but they just wanted it anyway. Because so I thought, you know, I feel like there's so much in common with them, and I know that they're like supposed to be enemies, but at the same time, I feel like Essa's pretty neutral. You know what I mean? Chaotic neutral, maybe. I don't feel like she gives you know what I mean? Like I don't feel like she cares about the Prime Order or anyone else. You know what I mean? So if they had something to give her for this like revolution, she might switch sides, I think. If they gave her enough money, she'd be like, okay, I come with you. That would be great, I think. And then her like that. I basically I want Essa to be around in any capacity, but I feel like she's a pretty neutral character, really.
I think she's gonna definitely be a major challenge for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But I think she really, if chaotic neutral is what I'm getting off of her.
Yeah.
Essa serves Essa right now, even if
Like,
she's technically
being
serving
evil
the
or good on the alignment chart, and alignment charts are really appropriate to use for the show, especially since it's like definitely D&D RPG tabletop like.
Right.
But like being good or evil is like a morality of intention and like cause. I don't feel like Essa has any of that. I don't feel like she cares. She just does whatever she wants.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? Whatever, but like she just doesn't care. So I don't feel like she's good or evil at all. She's a villain for sure, but she's not evil.
And see, I think the way I'm seeing it is she's being posed as a villain right now, but long term, I'm getting antagonist vibes off of her or deuteragonist vibes where,
like anti-hero.
Exactly. She's gonna come in and everyone's like, "Oh crap! It's the crazy
chick is here.
It's the crazy chick. Run away!" And then, if we get a season 2, we might really get to explore her. And if we get that, we might end up seeing a whole other side to her that's maybe someone's dog talking. Maybe an occasional stumbling block to some people, but I'm hoping she has enough time to diversify, because in the few minutes we have seen her, Sonali has owned the screen.
Oh yeah, she is definitely a scene stealer. If we could nominate her for something for scene stealer, we would.
And nominate her for all of the things.
Yeah. So Cass, like, what is your favorite like relationship so far in the show?
All of them. I don't know.
Like, not even like romantic, platonic, antagonistic, or whatever. Who do you enjoy seeing on screen together the most, especially this episode? Like, who was this episode alone? Who was the best?
This episode, Janzo and Talon were definitely.
Yeah, they were so.
I'm gonna say something. Like I said, I may be a Jared. I said Jarrett instead of Garrett. Oh my god.
I mean, we do like Jarrett. I
was gonna say I'm a huge Garrett fan, but I'm thinking I'm starting to think Talon and Janzo are becoming my OTP. Like I
can't. I'm addicted to them.
I can't stop them. Like
they're taking my crops. Okay, I definitely shipped the OT4, and I loved when he was denying his mother, basically. I loved him standing up to the mistress for one thing. I wanted to smack her for being so abusive to him, but I loved when he was like, I'm helping blah, 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 and then his mom was like, Jared and that girl are more important to you than your mother, and I don't know, I just felt like, I don't know, that was like,
that's abusive. It's outright. It
is abusive, but I liked that she was, I don't know, something about the way, like, if I don't know, something about it seemed like if you were looking at it from a polyamorous perspective, it was like a win of a sentence, even if it was a shitty, thing for the mom to say. It's like when your mom is like, don't bring that boy over to the house, it's like, if you're watching a teen drama, that's a good thing, because you know that boy's going to be the one she's going to bring to the house. You know what I mean? So I thought it was amusing for his mom to say that. But yeah, she's really abusive. She can burn hell. I wanted Garrett to go, like, I don't know. I want Garrett or Talon or someone to be like on their way down into the basement and walking on her being like a total bitch and just be like, I'll throw a sword at you. Garrett just like throws a sword and it lands in the wall. Like, he obviously wasn't aiming for her. And Jansen was like, why would you put holes in my wall? I need them. But like, I just want to see more of the mistress getting what's coming to her, but at the same time, I want to see her succeed and become a drug lord. So I'm torn on the issue. You know, it was so funny when she got excited for the Cliptum.
Yeah. Genzo, his responses on this episode to everything, he is so much more aware than he lets people even realize he is. He seems to enjoy playing into being simple or incapable, I guess you'd say, but he's the first one sitting here worrying about, you know, having to go where they're going and all the dangers involved. And then the way he was acting with Talon while reading all of the books, and like I said, he can read 12 languages. I actually remembered our interview with Sonali over Cult Fans, and she had been like, you know, I feel important. I felt good because I read in English, or I can speak English, Spanish, and French, but you can't feel important when you're sitting next to the damn Pope, because Monia speaks 6 languages. And that's exactly, I'm like, because she's premiering this episode, I'm like, flashbacks.
But like, I can't even speak English. Like, I can't even read. I tried to take French, and I was like, oh, I'm such a great writer. You know, I have such great comprehension in English and stuff. I'm sure I'll be great at learning another language. No, worst class I ever took. I'm horrible.
I tried to, I was put in French in 3rd grade, and like I learned to basically memorize saying, because I went to a Christian school, John 3:16 in French, and that was the only thing I knew how to say. And then
just bad, you'll say it. It'll be like je suis fromage, and they'll be like, she was cheese.
Then there's Spanish, where I can basically ask someone's name, how they're doing, and where the bathroom is. That is it.
That's all you need. But like I loved when, because like I love that Janso and Gwen both got like given the news in different ways about who Talon is finally and what she can do, and they were both just so excited. They were like, awesome. They were like, you were already cool, but now you're like the Pope, the Demon Pope. We're calling Talon that from now on, the Demon Pope.
The Demon Pope.
Yeah, we're doing that.
That's kind of what she is.
She summons them. She's the link between the two worlds.
They follow her around and do whatever she wants, so...
But they also want to stop her. She's like, Caesar. Can't turn her back on those people. But like... So in the chat, Lisa Roloff's here, and she was commenting, I think, on what we're talking about, Janso and his, you know, his persona versus his, you know, when it shows that he might actually just be choosing to be that nice and dopey seeming. You know, she was like, it's not so much he enjoys it as it is a survival trick.
Yeah.
So I agree. Like, he does it. I think I mentioned that before when I'm worried about the fact that this is like a brothel and that he's obviously doesn't want to have anything to do with any crime and stuff besides brewing. He just wants to brew his stuff and be left alone. So it seems like he might have, you know, played down his own intelligence, you know, and his own, not his, like, his raw knowledge. He might have upplayed his nerdy intelligence and downplayed his interpersonal, you know, intelligence that would be useful in crime, so that they would just shuffle him off to the basement and make him useful as a brewer. He probably did that on purpose from a young age. He was like, if I seem like a wimp, people will leave me alone, right? If I'm out of the way, if I don't make a, you know, a scene, if I kind of just, you know, back off. Like, it's like in middle school when you just apologize to everyone, even if it's not your fault, because you're like, I don't want conflict. Unless everyone wanted to be a drama queen in middle school, I don't know. But yeah, like, he definitely seems to like open up more around Talon, and he's becoming more and more himself, it seems, with Talon, and she is as well. Like, they're like, he gets more playful, and like teasing and confident that he can just say what he wants as loudly and not as like he doesn't stutter and stuff as much when they're just having a casual conversation for sure. And it's really cool to see that they're getting more and more comfortable around each other. And I love the way they smile at each other. Like they just seem like the purest relationship in the show. It doesn't mean that they don't have problems though, but she was so annoyed by it, but at the same time, I feel like she just kind of also was mad at the mistress, you know, because she's not stupid. She knows what's going on here. I feel like she's upset that Janzo can't stand up for himself on his own.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, why can't you just? Because she's been out on her own for so long, and so she's like, you're too afraid to leave your mom's basement, literally. Get out. She's like just staring at Janzo, like you deserve better. I deserve better. I don't want to die out here because your mom is a bitch. And you can't say no to her. Like, that's what Talon's going through right now. It's not like she's like, oh, you're so stupid. I don't think, obviously she just said that because she was mad, but she doesn't really think Janzo's stupid. She thinks it's just stupid that he can't be, you know, when he can be so brave, you know, with what, like, standing up to her or whatever, like, being nice to her, you know, in so many ways, but he can't even be nice to himself and stand up for himself. He'll hide a demon chick in his room, but he won't say no to his mom. Like, there's a correlation here. Something needs to happen.
Yeah, right.
And he tried this time, though. That's the thing that Talon didn't see, and that's the thing that he doesn't say because he's not a brag. He doesn't brag. He self-deprecates. He holds things in. He tried to stand up for her, and he tried really hard, and he, you know, almost got kicked out because of it until he finally gave in. He stood his ground. He dug his heels in, but he's not defending himself, being like, "Oh, I tried to say no. You should have seen it," because then he would have to admit that he'd never said no. See, basically, he just doesn't want to deal with it. But like, I feel like if Talon had seen that, she would have been more proud of him, at least for just trying, because you know. But from her perspective, she's like, you just rolled over. Okay, huh? You just rolled over and did this? The minute she snapped her fingers? And you're going to get us killed?
Have you been reading Lisa Roloff's comments in the chat? She's running to check on dinner right now, but she's got a lot to talk about.
If someone has been abused, then they learn how to survive. Playing stupid is the way to be unnoticed. It got him left alone. And then she's like, oh, yes, exactly. I loved. How did you both like the slip Jandra made when the bandit thought he was Talon's lover? I wish.
I legit LOL. I loved that. Loud.
I loved it when she was, then she said it, lover, and then he was like, lover, and then she did not deny it.
The way he like curled it and walked with this giggle like he lover.
It was so cute. I love it.
I got like secondhand embarrassment from that because I did something similar to that once.
You were like, I'm triggered. Get out of my face with this content. Who attacked me?
I was in like a Facebook chat and someone sent a picture like, ooh, this friend, or it says you're in a relationship. And I was like, God, I wish that were me. And but no one ever replied to me, so I was like mortified for like 2 days. Like, oh my God, I hope she didn't see that. Like
you're like, I didn't say that. Wasn't me.
Exactly. Like it really brought it back.
Gosh, I don't know. The very spirit that I was seeing in the pilot, because admittedly the pilot is a little bit raw. Like, we've gone over that. But the spirit I saw has been coming to life with everything from intense drama and growing action to increasingly perfectly timed comedy, knowing just how to break it up. And I'm loving it.
Oh my gosh, the best moment of the whole thing when she was like, even in death you nag me. Like, that's what I would say to my dad if he died.
Yes.
She's like, I can't.
Like, she reads the sword, and it's got this verse on it, and she's like,
it's like this dramatic moment, but undercutting seriousness with comedy like that is called bathos, and they use bathos perfectly in this show.
Yes.
They don't. It doesn't completely undercut the seriousness. It supplements it. It uses humor as a coping mechanism in this dull world.
Which is very human.
Yeah, it's really accurate.
Even in death, you nag me.
Mood.
Wow, Lisa, a little off topic for anyone just listening and not reading the chat, but that zucchini cheddar patties sound really good.
So I was just thinking about how the guacamole in my fridge and eating it raw. Don't. I'm already hungry. Leave me alone. Just gonna eat raw guacamole the minute I stop this broadcast. I'm just gonna be like, it's gonna be delicious.
Yes, we did technically discuss it, but we loved it. I loved seeing him curl into himself with that giddy, giggling joy.
I love the moment when Garrett and Gwen were talking, and then they overlapped, and they were like, "What?"
You're in love with Talon. Talon brought the demon.
And she's like, "Demon? What? Heterosexuality? What's going on?" But like, I really hope she summons the demon army. That's like the most amazing finale I can think of. Is her summoning the demon army. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I see we've actually caught a few more viewers, so if anyone does want to like pitch a new discussion or see if they missed anything earlier on, pitch it in the chat, guys.
Yeah, and I figured since we were a few minutes late, we'll go until like 7:20.
Yeah, that's fair.
We'll be like, we won't just be like, bye. So,
bye. No.
But like I loved the shot when the commander was doing his speech. I loved the shot of it and the shots of Gwen because the way they were, up tilts, it really had that power,
Mm-hmm.
It just had that powerful feel. Like they were finally rising up over the ashes of the kingdom that they burned. So it was really cool, and it was really evident in this episode above all other episodes that they filmed this during winter. Mm-hmm. That's why it's so dull, but I almost like that. A little bit, it makes me mad because I love color, so I'm like, there's no leaves on the trees. It looks horrible, but at the same time, I like it.
It can set mood so well, though. Mm-hmm. It was actually something I personally took note of. I'm obsessive with like looking at what directors do and camera composition or scene composition, and the scene that we swept to with the burial scene, I guess you would say. Mm-hmm. We had already gone, the Outpost isn't painfully bright, but there's natural vividness in the world, and mm-hmm. even in spite of everything going on, we have that. But when they transitioned to that, there was an actual statement I felt in the almost monochrome state of the world around her, the choice in the hood they gave her, everything was just so beautifully composed, even about her. And it really cut a mood into that scene on top of what we were already feeling.
Mm-hmm. The color scheme is really unusual, but it works. It feels it does feel pre-industrial. You know what I mean? It feels... Mm-hmm. But also where I feel the future the most is in how all the characters are so expressive with their identities, even with, like Essa and Pac and her, but like all these weird different outfits. I feel like it's a general subconscious, I feel like people are kind of dressing up not like not everybody's outfits exactly fit from the same set time period, because it feels like there's this memory of different things, that people are trying to emulate in the past. I feel like, whether it's in their legends or whatever from the time before, I feel like there's this Essa, especially with her last name being Khan, has this like Mongol warlord look. It's just this nomadic warlord look that's really out of, it shows that all the different areas of this world, like the map we looked at, They're really a lot more diverse than what we've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hope we get outside the Outpost more because, like, I saw everyone tweeting like, "Oh, we're finally outside the Outpost." And the minute my dad sat down, he was like, "Oh, we're finally outside again." Like, people feel claustrophobic, I think, sometimes.
So Lisa's got a couple of things. First of all, she just wanted to say it looks like that she's totally giddy over Janzo getting to read all of the Wolf's books. Like, Janzo being all excited about that made her day, but she was asking if anybody noticed how Gwen's costume looked with how sharp and pure the colors on her outfit were in the scene with Garrett. I'm assuming she's talking about that it made her look like a comic book cosplay. And even while she was writing, we had very vivid, I guess you'd say, like lavender mauve colored boots offsetting the gold. And they really made, I have to agree with Lisa, some very bold but tasteful color compliments on her attire that definitely made her stand out without the typical reserved, I'm a queen, so I just wear classic gold and black. She held a very good presence with it.
Yeah, she showed up in like that yellow, like she seemed like the sun in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
She stood out against the blue. That was one of my favorite color scenes. Dozer, shh.
Your dog does that too, huh?
Yeah,
starts mooing in the middle of conversation.
Talk to me instead.
Moo.
Mine doesn't moo. She comes up and just yaps. But like, she's a big dog. She's a medium, but just like she comes up and she doesn't. It needs to be her.
I have a cat on my desk, 2 dogs wandering around the house, and there was a cat across the house trying to climb on Shay's back. Well, she's leaning forward, and the cat is trying to climb like off the back of the chair and stretch out onto her. Animals, man.
Yeah, but like that was probably my favorite scene color-wise, and I think that, you know, the primary colors are yellow, red, and blue, basically. Like, obviously, if you're a graphic designer, you're like, no, it's magenta, it's like, it's F47, you know what I mean? Like, it's actually not that. But to the layman, I'll say red, yellow, and blue. Like, you know, those are like, so when our eyes
I learned in Blue's Clues. Like Steve taught me.
He would never leave me astray.
No.
But like, so I find it really interesting that with this scene, like, they have a lot of blue in their coloring for their setting, the generalness, and then like Gwen is such a yellow base character, and then they talked about the red of the Covenant, you know, and so they really bring color into this a lot. And it's almost like, you know, it was interesting. It was almost like any color at all is like either a sign of success. It's like a sign of danger. Because, like, even if it's good, like when rising up above them, even that, it's dangerous because they're starting a war, right? And so, and then you have, they were walking along that really, really, really dull road, right? It was incredibly dull. It was the color of straw, right? The whole scene. But then these 2 bards show up and they're like dressed in rainbow colors, and you're like, I don't like clowns. I'm scared. But at the same time, I love their outfits. But, well, not his. I didn't like his outfit. I only like Lindsay Sterling's outfit. But yeah, like, the color scheme definitely means a lot. Just gotta take my dog out after this. He's like, please. But yeah, I think, does anyone else have anything else they want to talk about before we go? What have we talked about so far? Blah, blah, blah. We haven't talked about the flies.
The flies. That's right. Friggin' Janzo like pops open this wart growth.
And he's just like, cool.
And he's just like, wow, interesting. That's fascinating.
That's cool.
Who does that?
Right? And like theory-wise, I am convinced that the Calypso people they're going to meet are the Greyskins. At this point, I'm convinced. They're gonna show up, and the Greyskins are gonna be like, "You want drugs? Take them." See what happens. Because if you saw them in the first episode and stuff, and if you look at like their stuff, they're not idiots. They are organized, sentient beings. They're not monsters. They wear clothes. They wear armor.
They just live differently.
They bleed red. They talked about that. And I'm wondering if this show went
humans or something.
I've been thinking about that. What if they're humans who got changed? What if you survive the plaguelings, you eventually turn into a grayskin? Who knows?
What if that's what the wart formations we've been seeing are?
What if you like raise? What if they burn them? But when they don't burn them, they become grayskins. What if everyone who like? What if they're like the undead?
So wait. Let's rewind this theory a second. So you get poked by a plagueling, and then you go crazy with the throat penis thing that Josh designed, and poke other things, and then if you get killed or die, you think if your body isn't burned, they turn into a grayskin?
Maybe. But I feel like a more plausible theory is that the grayskins and plaguelings are different, but maybe the grayskins are immune to the plaguelings. Maybe the grayskins are humans. Maybe the grayskins are humans that evolved something to be immune to this plagueling thing that might have wiped out humanity when it first showed up. That might be the apocalypse with the plaguelings, like some zombie apocalypse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of where that comes in, the zombie apocalypse thing with the plaguelings. You know what I mean? And they're contained now, but they're barely. They're like a nuisance, but they're still a problem, right? So it's like the measles, right? Like the measles could come back.
That's a hell of a measles.
That's a hell of a measles. You're right. But like I'm thinking like what if the grayskins, think about it, grayskins, they still bleed red, but their skin is like all rocky and stuff. Maybe that's because they evolved not to be penetrable by those stingers. So that it's like maybe it's like the time machine, like the Murdochs and then the humans, like they
it is interesting
diverged.
That grayskin territory is located close to where the plaguelings are at. So
where all the loose plaguelings are, because the grayskins don't bother to contain them or kill them because they aren't threatened by them.
Like I'm sure they'd smash one if one came up like it's like whack, go away.
Go away, yeah. But maybe like the way evolution goes, maybe the plaguelings have learned to ignore the grayskins. Maybe they excrete something where they're like, that's useless.
Yeah. I can't poke it.
I can't poke it with my penis. It's useless to me.
Story like of men
every man, yeah. The plot of this episode.
Hopefully we don't have any male viewers right now. I'm sorry, but I'm not.
Sorry, not sorry.
Okay.
I love how my cat keeps walking back and forth to cameo in the background.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I think the grayskins and plaguelings are connected, if not biologically, that directly, then through the process of evolution. Mm-hmm. And its effects on each other.
Maybe even depending on what we find out, I guess you'd say Advent Horizon that completely screwed the world up, is maybe they even just evolved in different directions based on whatever event happens. Some X-Men
maybe
stuff,
it's
but it's
a
more
mutation.
Branches. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a mutation.
Maybe whatever messed up the moon mutated the grayskins. Maybe the grayskins were the ones who stayed above ground, I don't know if anyone...
Sam, Chris says, maybe they're just like Walking Dead zombies.
I haven't seen that show, so I wouldn't know. I have no context on that. I don't watch a lot of zombie shows because no. I watch iZombie, and that's like it. I don't even watch the zombie show they film in my cities, Z Nation.
Mm-hmm.
They film that in Spokane, and people are even like, "Go audition." I'm like, no, no, I'm not gonna be on a zombie show.
So I'm just gonna break real quick. It's kind of off topic, but while we're on zombie story time, I had a friend of mine that we joked that we'd like see the end of the world through zombie apocalypse one day. We'd walk everywhere. So one day we're walking down like middle of downtown Houston at the time, and we noticed like the streets were dead. Just there was nothing. There was nobody out there. No buses
Terrifying.
running, and we were like,
"What's happening?
Where is everybody?" Okay, so we
Surreal.
turn a corner, and I kid you not, I see an SUV that looks like a cop car that says like zombie something squad. And I'm like, what the hell? And I turn back around, and there's a line of zombies walking. It was a zombie fundraiser walk, but
you were like,
I'm gonna tell you,
run.
my friend just about teleported. She ran so fast.
She was like, bye. Let's get out of here. No. I wonder if we're right about the drug being connected to the
It could be.
plague links.
Right now, we're just all we can do is speculate very
Yeah.
well, and that's what I love about a new show like this. They're leaving us guessing. We haven't gotten to a point where we're like, okay, we know all of these authors and characters. We know he's gonna turn right on Fifth Street. No. But cast girl Sam Chris said, you know, in Walking Dead, there's this thing where everyone has like a gene or something like that. Further, I guess you'd say predisposition, and it would explain why there are plaguelings in the walls. That could work, but that's what I love. We can all speculate.
Yeah. Do you think on that note we should go?
Any last questions, real quick?
Does anyone have anything they want to talk about?
Does anyone want to make Cassidy show her bee again?
Could.
Do it.
Alright, he's under my computer now, so I gotta get him. His name is
I like
George.
the bee.
Huh?
You got a bee on your wall too.
I do. It's like a balloon, like a Target balloon that I come up there. His name is George Lazenby, like the Bond actor. Only it's spelled, obviously, it's spelled like B. Yes. He's very big and he's very.
I wonder if the bee just reminds me. Like, I wonder if those flies are infectious. Like, I want Janzo. No.
If it's infectious or if it's a symptom, like, do plaguelings walk around just spraying things that live on rot? That's gross. Like, ugh.
I guess we'll find out. Nothing happens without a reason.
All right. Doesn't look like we have any further questions, but for anyone that did tune late, you can always go back and watch. We discussed actually a lot of great stuff earlier this episode, so. Yeah,
we went through some cool stuff, but no one was here, so we were like,
womp womp.
Womp womp, yep. Okay, so bye guys. We'll talk to you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.